Hello and welcome to the breakdown as we look back at the week that was in the Super Round, the first round of the Super Fixtures here in the Dialogue Rugby League. We're looking forward also to what will be the deciding weekend in this Dialogue Rugby League, which has kept us entertained for so long now, and look forward to the school segment coming up later on as well. But let's look back at what happened in the first of the Super Round fixtures that we had over the weekend. We had some games on Saturday, and in the first one of those, Army took on Air Force. That was a close win, 29 points to 25 for Army. Air Force were lucky to get 3 tries on the board there. And Havelocks took on CR&FC at Havelock Park, 21 points to 14, a convincing win for Havelock Sports Club, keeping their lead at the top. Kandy Sports Club then took on CH in a much anticipated fixture on Sunday, and that one finished 31 points to 13, a drubbing in terms of what was expected for CH&FC. And Police Sports Club won against Navy Sports Club for the second week in a row in the first round of the Super Fixtures by 34 points to 30. Let's look at our first couple of games for you. We're looking at the Cup Championship games in our featured matches. And let's take the first one on Saturday. Havelocks took on CR&FC. And it was a tough pressure game for Havelocks because the last encounter between these two sides was quite close. And CR&FC had been getting better. But Havelocks needn't have worried because CR&FC were pretty bad on the day. Thikshana Dasanayaka danced through the defense, and you watch the replay, you will see that nobody's really interested in tackling him. Nobody's interested in collapsing back on defense. And that was the story for CR&FC on the day, and Havelocks thought the fragility was outside, and that's exactly where they went, made plenty of inroads, took that CR&FC defense side to side and managed to punch some holes in. They would have thought they could have scored a few more tries, and they'll be a little upset that they didn't score more than their bonus point effort of tries, but Mithun Hapugoda coming on completely changed the complexion of the game. It was 7-all at halftime. CR looked like they might be in it for the second half, but Mithun came on and scored 2 outstanding tries, and CR&FC's discipline really let them down in that second quarter of the game as well. And Havelocks eventually finished comfortable winners, 21 points to 14, and it was 21-7 for a long time. It was Kavindu Pereira who closed the gap in the dying stages of the game. But apart from that, it was really a comprehensive win for Havelock Sports Club, who, if they can deal with their injuries, Azmir Fajuddin played an outstanding game, played a full 80 minutes on a really messed up ankle. Hopefully he will be available for next weekend's game. But apart from that, Havelocks looked really good, and their defense was stoic, and it was a very, very good performance from them. And not a flashy performance, but still a good one, showing that they might be title contenders indeed. Our next game is CH&FC versus Kandy, and that one opened scoring with Samuel Madhuvantha slamming over a 53-meter drop goal, and everyone expected it to be a one-way traffic from there because CH&FC had come there with intent. But Kandy were not to be outdone in their home ground. They know the kind of standard that this Nithavala crowd expects, and that's exactly what they gave them. Some outstanding tries scored, one by Andru the Villavara, which I thought was a brilliant try that Kandy worked the line and scored in the way that we're accustomed to seeing them scoring. And then we had Thirina Vijayasinghe also, and Nigel Rathwath broke the game with a couple of tries at the end as well. An outstanding performance from the experienced campaigner in the number 10 shirt. But for CH&FC, it was a little bit of a disappointing performance. They kept going to areas where they were not able to upset Kandy, and they didn't seem to have the kind of game plan that they otherwise did. And Hiranta Pereira was quite absent in this game. He was one that they had been quite at the fulcrum of everything that CH&FC did, but Adam Gowda was concentrating on defensive duties, didn't really have that attacking punch, and somehow the kicking game really let them down. Samuel Madhuvantha did score a try as well, so he had an outstanding game, but Sudham Suryarachi really couldn't get into the mix. Roshan Veeraratne had him covered, and it was the experience for Kandy that really came through at the end, and they won it comfortably by 31 points to 13. So we're setting ourselves up for a wonderful league decider, and that will be between Havelocks and Kandy down here in Colombo.
Live scores දැනගන්න ThePapare.com වෙත පිවිසෙන්න.
Let's look at the stats from the Dialogue Rugby League so far. We have one more week to go, and before that, the table looks something like this. You can always go to stats.thepapare.com to check all these numbers out. Havelock Sports Club not sitting pretty, but they are in the lead, 77 points to 75. over Kandy Sports Club. So Kandy Sports Club had clawed back. You remember Havelocks didn't get their bonus point against CR, but Kandy did get their bonus point against CH, which means that the gap closes from 3 points to 2 points between the two sides at 1 and 2. So everything still to play for when they meet in the upcoming weekend. If you look at what can happen, if Kandy win, obviously they will be the ones who take the trophy home. If Havelocks win, they will win. They will take the Dialogue Rugby League Championship home as well. If there is a draw, Havelocks will be the ones who end up winners, unless of course there is a draw. But Havelocks, if Kandy score more tries or Havelocks score more tries, then we might have a bonus point issue. But that won't arise as well if it's Kandy, because we have just that 1 point gap that Kandy will be able to bridge. So if Kandy score 4 tries but still draw the game, they will come up to 76 points. And if Havelocks don't score any bonus points but still manage to draw the games, they'll remain on 77 points. So a draw is not good enough for Kandy. They will desperately need to get there and make sure they get the win. A draw will be good enough for Havelocks, but Havelocks will also definitely be playing for that win. CH&FC's season has unfortunately come to an end with that loss in Kandy. They can't go any further beyond this third place position that they're in, but given how their first round ended, they'll be very happy to have ended up where they are at the moment. They will be playing CR&FC, who are on 48 points and will be desperate for a win against their age-old rivals, because they have Army closing in on them with just a 4-point gap behind in 5th place. So if Army win and just win, and CR&FC don't even get a bonus point, then CR&FC could be facing the ignominy of going down to the 5th position. So that's what Army will be playing for. They'll be playing for the Plate Championship against Police. They'll be also playing for that 4th place finish, if that is at all possible for them. So Police also have everything to play for in their game. They can't win, they can't come up to Army's position on the table perhaps, but they can definitely win the Plate Championship. So that's what they'll be trying to go for. Navy will be in 34 points, and they unfortunately will have to remain in 7th. And with that solitary win, Air Force will be destined to remain in 8th place. So that's what the table looks like. Those are the permutations coming into the next weekend. Here's a look at our numbers individually. We have the top try scorers, with Mithun Habugoda coming off the bench and really changing games around for Havelocks. He's got 10 tries. Another scrum half also who has 10 tries is Sudham Suryarachi. Both of them will have a chance to add to their tallies over the weekend. Danush Karanjan with 9 tries. He'll be desperate to try and catch up as well. And if he gets a double or a hat-trick against Havelocks, then he will be the one who ends up in the top position. Top point scorers, no one's going to catch this man. Samuel Madhuvanta is on 192 points. Thiruna Vijayasinghe on 169 points. That seems like a fair distance between the two. I don't think Thiruna has a chance of catching up to Samuel Madhuvanta, unless of course he has one of those once in a lifetime 36 points games which we saw him have over the course of the 2nd round. But Madhuvanta, what a season it has been for him. He'll be looking to cross that 200 point mark, and that will be a monumental achievement. Here are the fixtures coming up, and this is the final weekend of Dialogue Rugby League action, so make sure you stay tuned to ThePapare.com and enjoy every minute of that finale. And we have, on the first, we have Navy taking on Air Force. That is going to be at Valisara. So both those teams, like I said, between 7 and 8, not a lot to play for, but Air Force, of course, could be looking for only their 2nd win of the season. Then we have a game which is Army Sports Club versus Police Sports Club. That's on the 2nd. That's also at Valisara, and that's going to be an outstanding game, because if Police win, and if Police win with a bonus point, they can overtake or they can draw with Army. So that's going to be a very important match for them, and they might even win the Plate Championship. Army have to make sure they don't lose. Army have to make sure that they don't allow Police too much ground. They don't allow them to get behind their line too much, because they have everything to play for as well. If they win with a bonus point and CR loses, then they may even go up to 4th position on the table, which will be a real feather in the cap for this Army team. Then, of course, on the 2nd, we also have CRN FC playing CH&FC. So this match has nothing in it for CH. They are playing for 3rd place, but CRN FC will be desperate to try and win this game to hold on and make sure that Army don't overhaul them in the final weekend of the season. And then, of course, the title decider, Havelocks taking on Kandy Sports Club, who travelled down once again to Havelock Park, where they were just a couple of weeks ago. So that's going to be a really interesting encounter. Absolutely nothing in it. 77 points placed, 75. And with the injuries decimating both sides, I think we're going to see a really keen tussle. He may not be the best, most entertaining rugby, but my goodness, it's going to be a tense game. So make sure you tune in to watch that game on the 3rd, that's Sunday, Havelocks versus Kandy. Our trivia question for this week, don't forget you can win yourself a Dialogue Tuskers replica jersey if you answer this question correctly. We know that Samuel Madhuwantha is closing in on 200 points this season, but what we want to know from you is who holds the record of scoring the most points in the league and how many points did he score? Who holds the record for the most points in the league and how many points did he score? I'm sure there are going to be a few punters who are going to try their hands at this one. Win yourself a Dialogue Tuskers rugby jersey. So that brings us to the end of this breakdown segment. We're looking ahead to the final meeting of the potential champions, the defending champions, Kandy, and of course Havelocks, who are the potential title challengers who are leading the table at the moment. So Kandy desperately need a win. Havelocks need to make sure they don't lose. So that's what's at stake when we come into this final weekend of Dialogue Rugby League action. So don't forget to join us. Thanks for joining me on the breakdown, but join us all on ThePapare.com as we look forward to the season's decider.